Facts almost never change minds, but stories can. This is the 9th in my video series on Truths for Hard Times. One of the projects in my life that gives me joy right now is collaborating and communicating with community builders, leaders, and activists in what we like to call the Global South. So people from Africa, India, Latin America, and I'm learning from them as we exchange resources, something that our science is also backing up. And it's this, that stories and storytelling in whatever venues and formats we use is often more effective at changing minds and hearts, but also keeping together communities in the face of adversity than facts, data, or information. So when I hear them talk about their successes, these community builders, the struggles that they face, what inspires them, the better futures that they're imagining, I'm so struck by the prevalence of story. They usually refer to it as narrative, which is a somewhat wider term. The prevalence of story in what they do. And sure, they use facts, science, information, data, but all of that serves the narratives of resilience, of justice that they are moving forward with. And one thing that might surprise some of us, it didn't surprise me so much because I study this, is how even speculative fiction can serve these community goals. So speculative fiction being an umbrella term for science fiction, fantasy, magical realism, which started in South America, by the way, and the overall genres of the fantastic, genres of the imagination, because those kinds of tellings, those kinds of stories allow us to step back from the worlds we live in and ask ourselves questions like, does it really have to be this way? So growing up in a violent home, I often took refuge in those kinds of stories, in speculative fiction. And of course, we tend to disparage that as escapism. Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien taught us something about that. He basically said, of course it's an escape. I mean, reality is unbearable. Sure, let's escape. The escape of the prisoner shouldn't be confused with the flight of the deserter. And then Ursula K. Le Guin came along and said, yeah, let's escape and let's take as many people with us as we can. Stories of certain kinds can liberate the soul and the spirit and the imagination long enough for us to imagine how things should be, how things could be. Something to think about.